Welcome to Around the Track, the most exciting 15 minutes in wealth management by Dynasty Financial Partners and hosted by CEO Shirl Penney.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Around the Track, the most exciting 15 minutes in wealth management. I'm your host, founder and CEO of Dynasty Financial Partners, and I am extremely excited about this week's episode because I'm joined by my long-term friend, Avery Johnson, who is the founder, president, and CEO of Avery Capital, as well as a board member at Dynasty. Avery, thanks so much for doing this with me.
Thanks, Shirl. Excited to be on with you. And man, I'm excited. Let's do it.
All right, let's break from the gate. You know the rules. There's only one rule, actually, which is we have only 15 minutes to make our way around that virtual track, as you well know. Is Saratoga, my backyard of my house in Saratoga. I'm going to ask you 8 questions, each one representing one of the 8 furlongs, and off we go.
And they're off.
Look, the first one, how we break from the gate matters. Is, as you know, I'm going to give you a nice, easy softball. Many people know you for your incredible sports accolades. Many people now know you for your success in business, but let's maybe back up even before that. Tell us a little bit about Avery Johnson, the person, the man, the family man.
Yeah, I grew up in New Orleans, a big Saints fan, even though I'm here in Dallas Cowboy country, and I know you love the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but yeah, I grew up in New Orleans, big family. My wife, Cassandra, who I've been married to for almost 32 years, our anniversary is coming up on July 6th. We met at Southern University 35 years ago. And now we have 2 wonderful children. My daughter's 30, Christiane. She's getting married in December. Well, that's wedding number 1. Wedding number 2 is in Dallas next year. But she works for Bain & Company in Los Angeles, and her fiance, Austin, works for Deloitte. I have a 27-year-old son who is more of my sports child. He has his own sports marketing business. He's based in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I'm here at Avery Capital, CEO, and just loving life.
Awesome. And I've had the great pleasure of spending time with your family. You're blessed with an amazing family. I know you've put a lot of pride and effort and work into your family. So thanks for sharing that. You just mentioned Avery Capital, and I know that you're so passionate about what you're doing at Avery Capital. Tell us about the business and what has you kind of flying out of bed every morning.
Yeah, Avery Capital, we're a $100 million private equity fund where we're buying properties leased by the federal government, specifically the General Services Administration, or GSA for short. The GSA signs leases on behalf of the government, full service leases, and we love the sustainability of those properties, and it's a wonderful tenant, and the tenant actually owns the printing press, so that's a good thing. But we're more of a fixed income alternative. We've raised capital directly through high net worth individuals, family offices, RIAs, and we're providing solutions to bring stabilized returns to those investors while those investments are protected by a hard, stable asset. What gets me up in the morning is just helping to motivate this next generation of leaders, especially those that are not in sports. And a lot of times, especially in the minority community, they only think they can make it and be successful through sports. Well, we're proving otherwise. There are other ways that you can make it in life. And one of the ways you can do it is through private equity.
Well, let's build on that point, because one of the things that we talk about sometimes when we're together is we think, you and I both had, humble beginnings, let's say, and we talk about how adversity builds character, but maybe in some ways that adversity is an advantage, right? It makes us, tougher. Certainly, it's a big part of being an entrepreneur is being able to deal with tough situations. So when you hear that phrase, adversity builds character, what does that mean to Avery Johnson?
Well, what that means to me is kind of the same way Arthur Ashe, the old tennis player, his first 2 words when he hit the ball out of bounds or hit it into the net, he said, next point. And that's the way I look at adversity. You go through it, but what's the next point? I'm not going to quit. We'll hang in there. Perseverance is a key. Keeping your eye on the prize is a key. But it's just that never give up attitude, that when you hit that adversity, you hit that wall, how do you solve that problem? And that problem can be solved through making the right partnership with the right person, figuring out how to maybe steer your business in another direction. So I think adversity does build character, and it's definitely built my character over the years.
Yeah, one of the other things that we talk about is grit. And I've said this publicly a number of times. One of my favorite sports statistics about you is that you're the only player in the history of the NBA to play over 1,000 games under 6 feet, being 5'11". That means you have to have incredible tenacity and grit and work ethic. And I wonder, you obviously were captain of the Spurs, the world champion Spurs. Congratulations on that. Is grit a transferable attribute? Meaning, if there's a couple people on the team that have it, is it something that you can teach, or do you feel like someone just has to be born with it?
No, I think it's something that you can teach. I think it's transferable. And I believe, and I've seen it become transferable. We had a guy on our team, David Robinson, one of the unbelievable Hall of Fame players in the world, but David really wasn't a physical player. He was more of a finesse player. He played the piano and the saxophone. He was a math major at the U.S. Naval Academy. Brilliant guy. But there were times in the game when we were playing against some of the likes of the Utah Jazz with Karl Malone, or the Chicago Bulls with Jordan and Pippen, that we needed him to really show some tougher signs of grit and tenacity. And we transferred that. We talked about it. I demonstrated it. Other players on the team like Tim Duncan demonstrated it. David followed suit. And boy, once he developed that grit, he took his game and our team to a whole nother level. So I wouldn't necessarily give up on people who are not demonstrating signs of grit. I would just model it for them. And if you model it for them, and if they are coachable, they'll follow along.
One of the things that I enjoy, Avery, not just in the boardroom at Dynasty, but just as you and I travel around together, I see so many people who have known you over the years. They call you coach, and just watching and observing how so many people with all, from all different walks of life really admire you, for your leadership and authenticity. So let me ask you, if you could pick, and it doesn't have to be, 3 words, but let's just say 3 things that really define your leadership style, maybe how you think about yourself as an entrepreneur, what would that be?
Well, I would just keep it real simple. Character, which I think is very important. My dad used to always say, it's not about being in the Hall of Fame, it's staying out of the Hall of Shame. And your character is going to follow you wherever you go. We talk about a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, that's part of it. If your face was on the cover of a book, what would be the name of the book? So I think character is very important. Competitive spirit. I'm a competitor now in business. I was that way my entire life in sports. And I think the last thing is, the right circle of friends. It's not always about being in the wrong place at the wrong time, but with the wrong people. I'm here today because I've had people that have invested in me. And those people, I wanted them to really get a good return on their investment. And, I try to hang around people that are assets and not liabilities. So I think those 3 key words, character, hanging around the right circle of friends, and that competitive spirit. I am a competitor.
I love that answer. Thank you for that. Now, this question I've been very, very excited to get your perspective on. So at Dynasty, as you well know, we spend a lot of time helping advisors transition from advisor to CEO. And oftentimes the skills that make you a great advisor can be different, to CEOs. And there's a lot of, first-time CEOs that are probably going to be listening to this conversation. You're one of the handful of people, and there's not a huge number, that transition from being a great player to also being a great coach. I know we've had conversations sitting around a fire pit about why Michael Jordan and some other great players don't coach, right? It's a different skill set. What did you learn? Because you were a great player and then coach of the year. What did you learn about yourself? What are some of the differences that you have to focus on to be a great coach or a great leader as you transition from being an all-star individual contributor to an all-star leader?
Well, you have to learn how to communicate, because when you're out on the court and you're playing, you're basically responsible. You have the ball in your hand. But when you're a coach and you're leading other people, you have to learn how to communicate and what type of forms of communication can motivate that individual. It's the same way I parent. My kids are hurricane and sunshine. The way I motivated my daughter is different the way I motivated my son. There are certain players that I coach on certain teams. Maybe I can coach them up a little harder. Others I maybe needed to hug. So there are different forms of communication: your teaching voice, your intense voice, your loving voice, your passionate voice, your empathetic voice. So there are different forms of communication, and you have to know what levels of communication to use on a particular day in a certain situation. You have to know when the team has been successful, how to communicate, if there's been failures or a setback. So I think that's the critical part of leadership is knowing how to communicate and motivate the people that you're leading.
All right, we're turning for home now. So just two questions left. I have to ask you this one, right? So I'm so humbled that you're on the board at Dynasty, and so appreciative. If you could offer a message to the Dynasty community, whether it's the team members at Dynasty, whether it's to our advisors, our resource partners, your peers who are on the board, investors in the business, or anyone thinking about coming on board Dynasty, what would Avery Johnson have to say to them?
Well, the first thing is the Dynasty Financial Partners, our team. We're a wonderful team. We're a wonderful group of hardworking folks that want to see you be successful. We want to be able to be an asset, solve problems for you, help your family live their best life. We want to help you with your generational wealth. Our advisors are incredible people. They're people that you would not only want to do business with, but folks that you want to go to dinner with. They're always concerned about you. They have you on their mind. We work morning, noon, and night to make sure that we can deliver the best products, the best technology, the best consulting, the best TAM. We want to make sure that all of our cutting edge technology and abilities that we're bringing to the market to help serve our advisors are always going to be classy and top notch. This board that I'm a part of, and I'm not going to name them all, but this board that we have at Dynasty, I'll put this board up against anybody in the country, led by our chairman, Harvey Gallup, and our vice chair, Sam Livingston, and the rest of the wonderful people that I serve with on the board. So it's just a wonderful experience. And what I would say, my consistent message is, we're not intoxicated by success or paralyzed by failure. We're always going to put in the work.
Love it. Love it. All right. Final question. You know this question because I ask it of every guest on Around the Track, and it's about the Triple Crown. And I don't have to explain the Triple Crown to you. You've been doing horse racing longer than I have, right? So, but for anyone who's not familiar, it feels like it's this almost unachievable goal is to win all three of the races to get to Triple Crown. We're actually taping this interview right in front of the Kentucky Derby. So I am going to put you on the spot because we're going to have this recorded for your Kentucky Derby pick as well. But what is your Triple Crown, Avery? What sits out there, whether it's for you, your family, your business? What's that big goal that you're running hard towards that almost feels unattainable, but you're going to fight like heck to get there anyhow?
Well, we're on Fund 1 right now, and we're raising $100 million for this fund, and we haven't achieved our goals yet. But I'm looking forward to when we're on Fund 2 and 3, when we're a $500 million fund, a $750 million fund, because what that means is those are more opportunities, more internships here at Avery Capital, where we can expose some of the folks that, especially from, the minority community that haven't been exposed to this platform. We can provide more opportunity, more leadership roles. So I would say getting to that next fund, that would be part of my Triple Crown. I would say, there are some trips that I want to take in life. I've never been to Israel. That's a trip that's on my bucket list. I want to go to a Formula One race in Monaco. That's on my bucket list. We're building, I'm on the board of a group called Behind Every Door, where we're transforming South Dallas with a $12 million property, where we're renovating a property that costs $12 million with a gym, and we have former NFL players helping us with the football field, and golfers with the baseball simulators, and the Mavericks with the gym. That property is going to transform about 5,000 families on the south side of Dallas. I want to do that all over the country, so that we can change the statistics, negative statistics of kids going to jail and being incarcerated, but kids that want to be motivated to go to college and become the next Shirl Penney.
That's awesome. Couldn't sum it up any better than that. But you and I always talk about, it's not about leaving the ladder down. It's building escalators to help more people come up. And you're an incredible inspiration. I know you talk about inspire, hire. You inspire all of us at Dynasty. So thanks for your partnership, your leadership. Thank you for taking time, Avery, to join me for this conversation.
Where is my Derby pick? You didn't give me a chance for my Derby pick.
Oh, got to come back to it. I think I know who you're going to say, but are you going to roll with Forte? Is that your pick, or are you going to go against Forte?
I am rolling with Forte. I'm rolling with Mike Rapoli. I'm rolling with my guy.
Awesome. And I'm going to say publicly, as long as Forte doesn't draw post number 1 or post number 20, I'm all in on Forte as well. And hopefully, Avery, you and I will spend some time together in the winner's circle. We're going to spend time hosting the Dynasty community at the race itself. I'm excited about that, but hopefully we'll get in the winner's circle with our mutual friend, Mike Rapoli, as well. So thank you again, Avery. And thank you to all of you for joining in again for another episode of Around the Track.